Welcome, and thank you for joining the Society for Clinical Research Sites for SCRS Talks. I'm Jimmy Bechtel, Vice President of Site Engagement with SCRS. SCRS Talks allows our partners and those we work closely with to take a few minutes to address issues of industry concern and talk about exciting events happening within SCRS. In this installment, we're going to have Tam Nguyen answer a few questions about our pending Asia-Pacific Site Solutions Summit. Let's take a moment to meet our speaker. Associate Professor Tam Nguyen is a non-executive director and deputy director of research with over 15 years of board-level experience across not-for-profit, healthcare, and aged care sectors. He has over 20 years working in the healthcare and health and medical research environment, including tertiary teaching hospitals across Australia. Tam is the deputy director of research at St. Vincent's Hospital, Melbourne, one of the largest tertiary teaching and research hospitals in Melbourne, responsible for the organization's research strategy, research ethics and governance, clinical trials, research innovation and development. SVHM is one of the largest tertiary teaching and research hospitals in Melbourne with respected clinical education and clinical research programs. SVHM is part of St. Vincent's Health Australia Network, a $2 billion healthcare network and second largest healthcare provider in Australia. Tam serves as non-executive director on various not-for-profit healthcare and aged care boards. He also advises numerous medtech and health tech startups. He is a regular invited speaker on a broad range of topics in healthcare technology and leadership. He chairs and moderates at numerous national and international conferences. And most importantly to our conversation today, Tam is the chair of the Asia-Pacific Summit Committee, helping plan our upcoming Asia-Pacific Site Solutions Summit. Welcome, Tam.
Great to be here, Jimmy. Thanks so much for that introduction.
So Tam, I wanted to get into some questions about the Asia-Pacific Site Solutions Summit taking place next month. And what makes you excited about this year's Asia-Pacific Site Solutions Summit?
Well, Jimmy, this is my fourth or fifth one. I lost count after my first one. And every time there's always a buzz, in terms of SCRS and, fundamental thing, it's for sites. And I'm from sites, representing sites. And it's certainly the other aspects is, you notice that it's actually Asia-Pac. Last year, we dropped the Asia part. Last year was ANZ, Australia and New Zealand only. Now it's actually Asia-Pac. So really looking forward to having not only speakers, but also delegates from the Asia-Pac region, not just ANZ. So certainly it's thrilled to be coming back. It's July, even though it's our winter time, but it's always a great opportunity to meet colleagues across, even though it's virtually this time, but it's certainly giving us that buzz that actually sites get together, talk about topics, issues impacting sites. So thrilled to be involved this year.
Thank you. It really is, right? It's the sites meeting and it's for the sites. So that's fantastic. And tell me about some of the sessions that you think our attendees will find most valuable.
Well, it's probably biased being chair, but I think every single session you look at it, and we can go through. But I'll single out some of the key one, and this is kudos to the SCRS team, but also the program committee for putting together such a great program. But when you look at the program of the 2-day, which is 13, 14 of July, and what we find is, the whole the setup of the program, you've got your keynote, and then you have the breakout sessions, the lessons learned. To me, a couple of sort of key one, and really encourage people to jump on the website to check out the program. So it's AP Site Solutions Summit.com. I'm sure you're going to be putting on the link as well there, Jimmy. But a couple of sort of sessions for me that I think be relevant in the context of, kind of post-pandemic. In particular, looking at, for example, breakout session 1 and 2 on day 1, looking at remote working from home, and no doubt the phrase you're on mute. We'll sort of move across from 2020 to 2021. But also on the aspects of e-consent, that's another big one that I think uh, be of interest. And leading to that is on the aspects of decentralized clinical trials. And that's what we see as the future of clinical research. And certainly in my involvement of, sitting on boards of a number of company looking at in this space, what we see is that there's a shift towards that, and in a good way, because removing the barriers at the tertiary centers like us, and trials can be run in the virtual setting, but also in the primary health network and in the general practitioners setting as well. So that's something to look out for. And then on day two, one of my other, and there's probably one on the last one, I think from memory, is looking at staff, and this is on the leadership and on the HR side of thing of running trials, because it's important. The issues of I guess, the disruptive market as well. For example, just to give you one really simple example where um, there's a temporary shortage of research nurse, because nursing staff being pulled into doing the vaccination program, for example. So that's a real challenge, and it's hopefully the panel will offer some of the practical solutions, best practice to deal with that issues of staff moving, or even though it might be temporary, but it's impacting everyone in the pipeline.
I mean, you're exactly right, Tam. It's so many great sessions, right? It's hard to to
Yeah.
nail down just one that is going to be exciting. But I think your selections there are really relevant to the times, and going to cover some important topics for the Asia Pacific region's
Mm.
site, and otherwise attendees. So thank you for highlighting some of those. But it's unfortunate that again we have to meet virtually, and we're luckily that the United States at very least is starting to look at the other end of this pandemic. But since we are meeting virtually and in a little bit of a different modality here, what do you think attendees can do to maximize their experience at this virtual Site Solutions Summit?
Well, the beauty of virtual, and I think as we, well, personally from my experience, really March last year, everything kicks in virtually, and I get to travel to, well, virtual travel to conferences or attended conferences where I would have not otherwise be able to attend, for example. So really encouraged, be interesting to see, who been sort of the attending this for the first time, and certainly we'll be taking feedback as well. But really encourage you to, the regular attendees, promote, send out to your network widely, and the way to really maximize your experience in this virtual site solution summit is that check out the program prior. You can connect to the speakers, through LinkedIn or through your network, and really find out what's happening. Because I think the ability to actually network, it's there. There's that opportunity. So in a way, really encourage everyone to obviously, um, you know, this is open for everyone outside of Asia Pac as well, and really encourage you to engage with our program committee, but also with the speakers, find out about their topic, and reach out to them. I find, in actual fact, I wrote a piece on how to maximize your conference trade show experience, and this is the pre-COVID context. But most of the time, it's still applied, because you might be looking for some of the industry leaders that you want to meet up and talk to at the conference. What do you do in the first instance? You look them up, or you find connection through your network. So on the virtual setting, it's the same thing. So absolutely encourage you to do that. Reach out to people, and importantly, um, in your participation in the virtual summit, ask questions. because the questions that you might be afraid to ask will be the same for everyone else. So ask questions, provide feedback, provide comments, and I think in the setting of the virtual meeting, the more involved you are, the more you get out of it. So again, really strongly encourage everyone to. If you haven't already sign up to the summit. But importantly, start that level of engagement, and certainly during the conference, during the summit, make sure you're active, you ask questions, share your thoughts, provide comments and feedback, because I think we learn from that. And believe me, when you do that, people take notice of you, will reach out to you as well. And but importantly, it's SCRS. It's all about sites. It's about, what I love about SCRS Summit is that it's from site by site and for sites. It's so important sharing that learning experience.
Absolutely, absolutely, and some really great tips. Right, we're in a unique situation in that we're virtual, and so there are a lot of opportunities for people to engage in new ways and engage with people who may not have traditionally been able to attend a conference like this down in Australia that would have normally been held in Melbourne. So it's great to have those new and different opportunities despite it being a virtual conference. And so Tam, you had mentioned that you've been around the Asia Pacific Site Solutions Summit now for 3 or 4 years, which really puts you at the start, right, of when we had spun this program up back in the very beginning here. But what keeps you coming back to the Asia Pacific Site Solutions Summit every year? Why are you a 4-year alumni
Yeah.
of the conference?
Yeah, no, thanks, Jimmy. It's as I said, it's key thing. It's really, and there are a number of conferences as well, cover different aspects, but this is purely focusing on sites and issues that relating to sites, and it's a really niche summit. It's every year, we see topics you get access to. I mean, obviously, if you haven't already signed up to SCRS membership, strongly encourage you to do so. You get lots of benefits out of being members, but importantly, really part of the network of sites network. Why I'm keep coming back to the Site Solutions Summit? Well, because it's really hearing I guess some of the challenges, but also the solutions and really enablers from our colleagues from sites, as well as, I mean, not to mention, this is not to forget to mention some of our corporate sponsors and partners as well, because they are, they are really sort of working with sites as well. So it doesn't matter how big or how small you are as a site, there's always things that you can learn and pick up from. And it's really for me to, again, seeing my colleagues, although in this instance it's be virtual, but that learning opportunity, constantly learning, which we all strive for, because you want to make sure that you are up to date with the latest regulation, legislations, but also best practice, to make sure that you run your sites, efficiently, and it's really creating that, sort of experience, not only for yourself, but importantly for patients, for participants involved in the studies that we run. So there's lots more that I can talk about, Jimmy, in terms of, but you need to, if you haven't already signed up to, to this summit, sign up and find out, and really strongly encourage. And already I've seen in my network, people said, oh, I'll be attending for the first time, which is great, and looking forward to more of the first time attendee, but also, the regular frequent flyer to the site summit. So, yeah, so give me, July is always in my calendar. And I guess big shout out to the Global Summit as well, which one day I get to go in October. And but let's just take this Asia-Pac first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. I always tell people that it's namesake. It's the Site Solutions Summit for a reason. So that definitely is a major differentiator for our conference from others. And I appreciate the plugs for membership and the Global Summit. So thank you for that. Again, it really is a bummer that we can't meet in person as we usually do down in Melbourne. But what benefits, you mentioned a few, right, previously, but what kind of specific benefits can we see from having virtual events?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting questions, and one that everyone sort of been asking, and I think, certainly for me, for our team, the ability to actually having a wider scope. So because if it's in person, it's in Melbourne, so I don't have to worry about travel, accommodation, and so on and so forth. Um, but from the if you out of states, or if you from outside of Australia, the ability to actually hear some of the solutions, some of the best practice, some of the industry leaders within the Asia Pac, and I think that's great. So absolutely, whilst it's taking sort of out the face to face interaction, but it added other sort of values in terms of the ability to actually go to these different sessions, and because I think it's been recorded as well. If it hasn't, then that's still the opportunity to actually in the comfort of your office or home, and actually give you more time to actually really absorb and learn. um, and for me, as I said, it's the ability to attend a wide range of other meeting, because you got to have your travel budget and your conference, and for my staff, professional development, this sort of fit perfectly. And if you're a member, it's widely available as well. So again, really tap into the resource for sites by sites and partners. So you look at the tagline, it's partnering for success. So success for your site, for your, I guess, network ecosystem, but importantly, success for our patient, which is, we all strive towards that. So again, really encourage everyone to check out the program and really sign up. If it's your first time, let us know. We'll make sure we acknowledge that and welcome you. If it's your, repeated, your second, third time, whatever the case might be, great to have you back, and really make this summit your summit. Involve, promote. So just even simple as sharing on LinkedIn or your social media platform, promoting the site summit. So lots of benefits there, Jimmy.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Great message there for the benefits. And you're right, we do record them, and for certain tiers of involvement, those that have registered with all access, they can view those recordings, which is great for those that maybe want to register that are not from the Asia Pacific region. The time zone is a bit of a challenge, I understand, for some people. Conference will be taking part after their workday is concluded. So being able to access those afterwards is a really great benefit, I think, for virtual conferences.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead, please.
Just on that note too, it's on the recording. I think it's so useful because a number of times at conferences where you take out your phone and there's a great slide and you try to snap it and the speakers move along, and it's like, well, you don't have to worry about it. It's all been recorded. It's all there. But also I think, as a group learning as well, it's there. You can actually go through and share with your group in terms of the learning, and I think that's important. And again, it's I wasn't in person for the last global summit, but I was on a panel, and again, it's great. Although time zone was a killer for me, but it was great. Yeah, so certainly very useful, as you mentioned there, Jimmy. The ability to go back and watch as well. That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start to wrap things up here, Tam, and I want to thank you again for your time this morning for you and this evening
Yeah.
for us here in the United States. But any last message for those listening here and are getting excited for our Asia Pacific Site Solutions Summit taking place July 13th and 14th?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, key thing is get involved because this is the summit itself is by site for sites, and it's actually we all got a partner for that success. So just kind of recap, you get keynotes, you get keynotes on looking at the pandemics, how we I guess recover, redefine, and refocus. And along with that is great breakout sessions looking at some of the new way of running trials. Whether it's virtual, whether looking at e-consent, looking at that decentralized clinical trials. That's really the future. And we hear, and again on day two, you get to hear about diversity and clinical trials. That's quite important. Program is great, and we hear in terms of examples of how best practice out there, and really issues relating to sites. Yeah, it's 13, 14 of July. The Australian time, but also been recorded. If you haven't already registered, I strongly encourage you to do that, and really start promoting, and look forward to seeing you online on 13 and 14 of July.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tam. You mentioned a lot of the things that I was going to begin to close this out with. But again, everyone, thank you for your participation in today's program. And we look forward to having you join us for more great content, including other SCRS Talks interviews. But make sure, as Tam mentioned, that you register for our upcoming July 13th and 14th Australia time zoned Asia Pacific Site Solutions Summit. For more information, visit apsitesolutionsummit.com, and you can gain knowledge about our agenda as well as speakers, and that is also the place to register. So Tam, I want to extend another deepest gratitude for your participation in today's program. It was great to have you.
No, great. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for all the pertinent questions about the summit. But I think importantly, it's about the new way of engagement with sites, and the way we learn and meet as well. So it's a pleasure, and yeah, thanks again, Jimmy.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, and we'll conclude the session. Thanks.